Favorite. And this segment is brought to you guys by Montero Motors, baby. That's right, Montero Motors, 1512 North Causeway Boulevard in Metairie, Louisiana. If you're looking for a new vehicle, be sure to check out Montero Motors. Well, my next guest, he's on here weekly. Y'all know the voice. His show is actually on from 1 to 3 Monday through Friday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Is none other than Hunt Palmer from the Hunt Palmer Show. What's good, Hunt?
Hey, how we doing today?
Pretty good, man. Just, one of the midweeks days, so you know how things can go right now. But everything is going pretty fine, and I see, look like stuff is starting to look okay. LSU baseball had a nice win against Texas A&M this weekend.
Yeah, they had to have it. A&M came in number one in the country. They had won 6 straight SEC series, and LSU was up against it. You're running out of weekends to try to become an NCAA tournament team, and they really needed to get 2 out of 3 against Texas A&M. They were able to win a game on Friday with some help from Texas A&M. They had some errors, some wild pitches, and then Saturday came back and fell behind early, but came back and won it from behind fashion. They got 2 really nice starts. Good job from their pitching staff, and that showed up when they had to, and they got 2 out of 3. They kind of ran out of pitching on Sunday, and Texas A&M is one of the best offenses in the country, and they made them pay for that. But it was a quality weekend for LSU, and they really had to have it.
Yeah, that's something that they had to take care of. And here on Tuesday, they actually take on Northwestern State. It's Cantrell School. They had their spring ball not too long ago. That's on WBRZ Channel 2, 6:30 tonight. And then they take on Alabama Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. What has changed, before we even talk about Alabama, what's changed in your opinion with LSU? Because we go back to those series against Tennessee. We go back through the Vanderbilt series, even at Arkansas. Hunt, I have you on the show, and you're like, well, this isn't working well, or that isn't working well. What's gotten better since then with this baseball team?
A few things. Gaye Jump has done a much better job. Through the first 5 weeks of SEC play, he really struggled. This is his first year as a full-time starting pitcher. 2 years ago, UCLA, he started the season, went about 6 weeks in, and then got hurt and had to miss the rest of that season and the following year. So he's just kind of getting his feet under him, and he's been much better the last 3 weeks, pitching in game ones on Friday. That's moved Luke Holman back to Saturday, where he's been pretty good. And so you got a good 1-2 punch of starting pitchers there. Offensively, I think it's probably been the biggest noteworthy change has been Ashton Larson, the true freshman, has stepped in and really done a nice job wherever they put him in the lineup. He was leading off this week in front of Tommy White and Jared Jones, and he's really provided a spark offensively for them when they really needed it. So it's a couple of things from that perspective, and then the schedule's just gotten a little bit easier. You had a really tough gauntlet there the first 5 weeks, stepped out of that to play Missouri and Auburn, who were probably the 2 worst teams in the league. Kind of got some confidence by beating those 2 teams 4 times in 6 games, and then you show up against Texas A&M at home and did enough to get to the finish line.
Yeah, and Hunt, they have to do a good job. The game going on right now at Alex Box, but they have to do an excellent job against Northwestern State. But when we jump into the May 10th, May 11th, May 12th, Mother's Day weekend, shouts out to all our moms. When you look at this Alabama matchup, how does LSU fare out in this one? Is this one of those games where, hey, they're kind of like Vanderbilt. We're going to have to tighten up, whether it's in the pitching, in the batting rotation or, even on bases. What's your thought process this weekend against Alabama in Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, Bama's year one, new head coach there. Last year, obviously, all the drama that surrounded their coach, who was fired for betting illegally on games against LSU. So a little bit of a reset there for Alabama. They are really good offensively. They are not great in terms of their pitching staff, and so LSU is going to have to swing the bats against the lesser pitching staff, and they're going to have to do their best to limit a really good Alabama offense. And a lot of teams have gone into Tuscaloosa and not had success. They beat Arkansas in 2 out of 3. They beat Tennessee 2 out of 3. Only Texas A&M this year has gone to Tuscaloosa and gotten 2 out of 3. And if LSU wants to have a realistic expectation of getting an NCAA tournament, they're going to need to go on the road and get 2 out of 3 against Alabama.
That's right. If y'all are just tuning in, y'all are listening to Hunt Palmer. Y'all make sure y'all follow him on X at Hunt Palmer 88. He'll keep you in his show first and foremost 1 to 3, on the Hunt Palmer show on ESPN Baton Rouge. But even in Hunt's tweets, put out some nice shorts. Whether it's LSU baseball, we talking a little bit NFL draft. I saw Hunt was going in. Hunt, I like your take. I think you mentioned something on Spencer Rattler last week too. Just that addition, him falling down there to LSU. I mean to the Saints. That was historical. But Hunt, basically LSU has somewhat of a control over whether they get in the NCAA tournament or not. Do you look at this team having a little bit of control of their own destiny, or a lot?
Well, technically, they control it completely. If they win out and win the SEC tournament, then you're in. But that's not super realistic at this point for this team to rattle off that many in a row. I think what's important is right now you're sitting there at 9-15 in SEC play. The goal is to get to 13 wins in league play, and that means you've got to go 4-2 over your last 6. If they go 4-2 over their last 6, they'd have 13 league wins. They'll have won 5 conference series in a row. They'll beat the number 1 team in the country, and that's probably enough to get them in. If you win 14, you're definitely in. If they go 5-1 over the last 6, they will definitely get into the NCAA tournament. If they win 12 league games, meaning they go 3-3 over the last 2 weekends, you're probably on the outside looking in when you go to the SEC tournament in Hoover. So it's not a complete control of their own destiny, assuming they don't win all the way out, because it is a beauty contest. It's subjective, and there's a committee that'll tell you whether you're in or not. But I think when you look back at history, the metrics this team has put together, I think it's realistic to think if they can win 4 of their last 6 SEC games, they'll be an NCAA tournament team.
No doubt, no doubt. Hunt, I want to switch gears with you here a little bit. Football season is right there around the corner for us, and we've lost some guys to the draft. Jaden Daniels goes 2 overall to Washington. Man, it felt like we were looking at Odell Beckham all over again, seeing Malik Neighbors go to New York, that big market. He's going to do well, and we had a handful of guys that ended up going to Jacksonville. Not only did Brian Thomas go in the first round, but Mason Smith in the second round, and then I want to say Jefferson, 4th or 5th round. First and foremost, before we get into the guys that's on the LSU current roster, what's your thoughts on Mason Smith going second round, man? I told Coach Pete Jenkins, we had him on the show a few segments ago, and I was like, hey, Coach, man, hey, I stand corrected, man. That boy still got drafted pretty high.
Yeah, it just goes to show you that you got the measurables and the size. Teams are willing to take a chance on you because Mason Smith has not been productive in college. He does not have a lot of great tape in college. He's not passed the injury test. He's missed portions of 2 seasons with injuries, but he's still 6'5" and 315 pounds and can move. And when you're that, you're going to get an opportunity. So I'm thrilled for Mason that he got that opportunity with Jacksonville early in the draft. I thought it was a mistake for him to come out, and I rarely say that. But it turns out that he was right. And we heard some buzz entering the draft that he was moving up people's draft boards, and that materialized when he goes in the second round.
It sure did, and I'm proud of him. I hope he does well. Look forward to working with him in the offseason. Now, Hunt, I want to talk about the current roster. The spring game is now behind us. The team is pretty much doing what we have to do to get whomever we could get in the transfer portal. What's your thoughts on LSU's football team right now? Like, if you were to say, man, these are the things I'm looking forward to. These 2 things are something I'm looking forward to. I mean, it's about 7 or 8, 9 things we want to check out. But if it's 2 things that jumps to the top of your list of what you want to see this year or what you're thinking about for this 2024 season LSU team.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the biggest concern is defensive tackle. They've said repeatedly they wanted to address that in the transfer portal, and they have not been able to do that to this point. They brought in one, Gio Paez, from Wisconsin, but he comes in as an edge player who's going to move inside, not a guy that's played inside already in his college career. And I thought they had a couple of chances with some guys from Power 5 schools, and end up those guys are going elsewhere. So they've got some issues at defensive tackle and on the defensive line, which is not a good thing. That's the biggest concern. As far as the positives, I really feel good about where Garrett Nire is. I thought he played well in his abbreviated time in the spring game. More importantly, I thought he played very well in the bowl game. He's older, comes from a coach's family, got a lot of talent. So, I don't expect him to follow up the Heisman Trophy winner and to go back to New York and to put up the statistics Jaden Daniels did. I do think that Garrett Nire will do a good job for LSU at quarterback.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Those are two things that I'm looking at as well. I am excited about the receiving core. C.J. Daniels, Kyrie Lacey is looking like he's up next. And I like how Jaden Daniels and Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors is embracing him, basically saying he's going to be the next star to get drafted high out of LSU. So, Hunt, I'm with you, brother. I cannot wait. Look, man, he's Hunt Palmer. Y'all make sure y'all check out his show every week, Baton Rouge 104.5 FM, ESPN Baton Rouge, the Hunt Palmer Show on from 1 to 3. You're hopping in that car there in Baton Rouge, getting you something to eat. Make sure you listen to my man Hunt. Hunt, thank you as always for coming on the show, brother.
Be well, man.
You do the same, man. Hunt giving us a little bit of insight on that baseball. Thank him so much for that, because I be out the loop. He really hooked me up all the time. Well, it's Inside the Trenches. It's your host, Marlon Big Favorite. Right. We want to thank Montero Motors again for taking us through this segment. 1512 North Causeway Boulevard, right there in Metairie. Go ahead and holler at my boy Alberto. You can actually use that Marlin money. Now, you can only pick the Marlin money up at our Small Sliders location on Fridays at 11:30, or you could come to Uptown Sports Social on Monday at 6 and get that Marlin money. $500 of Marlin money you could get towards your next purchase. It's Inside the Trenches on ESPN New Orleans. Hello, somebody.